Hi everybody, welcome back to the Crafts channel. I'm Stuart Hillard. I'm going to be showing you a stitch called a Deep Basketweave stitch. It's really easy to knit actually. It's a variation on rib. So if you've ever done rib before or you know how to knit and purl, it's an easy stitch to pick up and it's a really fun one. I'm knitting today using Cygnet DK yarn, which is a beautiful, high quality acrylic yarn in a DK weight. It comes in more than 60 different shades. So you can tell it's a really versatile and beautiful yarn, and it's much loved by knitters and crocheters alike. I'm going to be using some different shades of blues and turquoises today, and I want to show you what I'm knitting. I'm actually working towards making a patchwork throw with some cushions as well, just by knitting squares using this basket weave technique. It's got loads of really cool texture. It's quite architectural, so it would fit really well in an interior. It's ever so simple to knit, and I'm going to show you how. You need to start by casting on using your Cygnet DK and 3.5 to a 4mm needle. It doesn't matter, you can go up to a 4mm, but just make sure you use the same needle throughout. And you want to cast on a multiple of 6 stitches plus 3 extras. So for example, you might cast on 30 stitches, which is a multiple of 6, and then add 3 more on, so cast on 33. So I've got my stitches cast on, and this is a 24 row repeat, but don't panic. There are only really 2 rows to think about. Now our first and every alternate row throughout the whole square is knit. So even if you've never knitted before, you could make this technique, you could knit this. So my stitches are all cast on, and I'm going to start by knitting. So just putting the needle into the front of the stitch, yarn around and knitting straight across. So this is one of those great patterns where you've got one row where you need to concentrate a little bit and think about what you're doing, and then one row where you can just relax. It's just plain knitting. And I love a pattern like that because it's enough to keep me interested, but not so much that I have to abandon everything else. Can't talk, can't watch TV, and I just have to concentrate. So there's my I didn't have to concentrate row. That's my plain knit. And that's the right side of your work. So now I'm on to my wrong side row, and this is the row that I have to think about. Now, you're going to do exactly this row for rows 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12. So really dead easy. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with purl. So go into the stitch from the back, yarns at the front, and purl. And you're actually going to purl the first 3 stitches. So they're all purl. Then yarn back to knit, and you're going to knit 3, and this is the start of our repeat. So knit 3, yarn forward to purl, and purl 3, yarn back and knit 3. So although I say it's a row that you need to think about, you don't have to think that carefully. And if you ever get lost and think, how many have I knitted, how many have I purled, you can always look back and check. And actually, if you flip your knitting to the right side, you'll be able to see the start of the basket weave developing, and then you'll know where you're going. So I finished with purl 3. So I'm back to the right side now. So all my right side rows throughout the entire pattern are plain knitting. So we'll go back to knit. And so you'll continue in this way and work a total of 12 rows. And I'm going to pretend that this is row 11 In fact, I'm going to pretend that this is my last pattern row. So this is row 12 actually. This is row 12. So what I'm going to do this time, for the next part of the basket weave, so this is the next row, we've already knitted this part, we need to bring the woven part over, we need to shift it over, and that's really easily done. We've just done the last 12 rows by starting with purl 3, and we're just going to start by knitting 3. And then we're going to purl 3. Knit 3 and purl 3. And just keep going like that across the row. Make sure you're only going 3 at a time. So now the row ends with a knit 3, and then we're back to the alternate row, which is just plain knitting straight across. So this is a nice easy one, great for patchwork squares, great for blankets, but it would also be really cool for making scarves out of. You could use it in place of a normal stocking stitch in a hat. It doesn't particularly pull the fabric in. It's balanced out by the garter stitch, so it'll lie pretty flat. So there's my knit row, last one. And you can see there already how that now has shifted over the stocking stitch part, and we're going to start knitting that up for this next row here. So that's easy deep basket weave. Now don't forget to play around with these patterns. I've done 12 rows and then another 12 rows shifted over, and then back to the original purl 3, knit 3 for the third section. But you could take that down to just doing 4 rows or 6 rows or 8 rows and vary the width or depth of your basket weave. Easy one to do, easy project to make, and great fun to knit up into cushions and throws. Now if you follow the link below the video, you can download a little stitch guide for how to make this basket weave pattern, so you can print that off and keep that. Great technique for knitting into blankets and cushions. So download the little stitch guide, just follow the link in the video. I've used Cygnet DK yarn, beautiful range of colours, more than 60 to choose from. I think I've got a rainbow blanket that's whizzing around my head right now. Thanks for joining us at the Crafts channel. Do join us again. Remember, if you're not a subscriber, just hit the subscribe button. Click on the notification bell too, so that you always know when we've got a brand new video. And I will see you next time.